Straight all day.
You are now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is how to take your life back from social media. Now we get into where this comes from and how exactly to do it momentarily. First of all, a couple announcements. Number one, you have not gotten my daily motivation text message to your phone on a daily basis. That's because you're not in my text community. We can fix that very easily. All you got to do is send a text to the following number, 305-384-6894. And every day when I send out the daily motivation, because you're in my text community, you will be receiving that message straight to your phone free of charge. Number two, if you have not yet claimed your free copy of my book called The Mirror of Motivation, Self-Guide to Self-Discipline, this book is all about how you can ask yourself the question, who do I need to be so you can do what you need to do and have what you want to have. This book is really about reigniting that internal fire inside of yourself. So any of you who's ever felt like, or if you feel like you don't quite have that drive and that spark inside of you right now, this book will help reignite that spark. Go to mirrorofmotivation.com. The book is free, so all you're going to do is tell me where to ship it. Again, mirrorofmotivation.com to get that book. Number three, if you would like to be coached by me and you like to join Work on Your Game University, there's only one way to get in. You go to workonyourgame.net, watch the training on there. There's a 45-minute training that helps explain what we're about, what we do over here, and how we do it. Watch that training. At the end of the training, a button's going to pop up that will allow you to schedule time on my calendar so we can talk directly about where you're at, where you want to go, what you're about, where you want to be, and I can tell you whether I can help you or if I can't help you. If I can't, that's okay too. But if I can, I will tell you how and what it will look like. That is at workonyourgame.net. And oh yeah, if you haven't gotten your ticket yet to Work on Your Game Live, which is my next live in-person event, that's going to be in Miami, February 3rd and 4th, 2023. Get your ticket by going to workonyourgame.live. Now, with all the announcements out of the way, let's get into the topic, how to take your life back from social media. Now, I talked about social media in several episodes of this show. I'm going to refer you to a few of them. The most recent one was episode number 1895, where I talked about how to use social media for business the right way, if you have not done that. Episode number 1690, a secret that social media platforms don't want you to know, the dirty secret they haven't told you about. Episode 1114, how much does social media matter to or for your business? If you haven't listened to those episodes, make sure that you do, especially if you're a person who is using or thinking about using social media for business purposes. You want to make sure you are using social media and social media is not using you. And I've talked specifically about how much social media matters to and for your business, how you should use it, and also how social media monetizes your time and attention. Even though they're not charging you money to use the application, they are monetizing the time that you're giving to them. So today we're going to talk about how to get your life and time back from social media so that you are using it and it is not using you. So if that sounds like a conversation you'd be interested in, then let's continue, shall we? Point number one. This topic again is how to take your time back from social media, take your life back from social media. Number one, be a producer rather than a consumer. This is the most important thing you can do with social media, especially if you're using it for business. Producer over consumer. This is especially true for those of you who utilize social media for your business, which is using social media for business is a popular and common thing to do simply because there are millions and even billions of people using certain social media platforms. So it makes logical sense to at least test the waters and see if maybe some of those people might be interested in what it is that you have to offer from your business. But here's what I want you to do here. Make sure that every time you pick up your phone and you log into one of these apps, you are using it to produce something, not to mindlessly consume whatever is being shown in your feed. And there's a big difference between those two use cases. You're using it to produce or you're using it to consume. Keep in mind that the feed on your social media apps, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, all of them, they are scientifically engineered to do one thing and one thing only. And I talked about this in episode 1690. The feeds on your social media apps are designed, scientifically designed. Again, this is not some random hodgepodge. There are scientists, literal scientists, who design these feeds, and they're designed to do one thing. Here it is: to consume as much of your time as possible by keeping you scrolling through the app. That is what they're designed to do. Now, you may be wondering, hopefully you're wondering, if you're a critical thinker, you're wondering, well, Dre, why would a social media app want to do that? Why do they want to keep me using their app? I mean, what do they actually get? I mean, I get they want you to use the app so that you like it and stuff like that, but what's the real reason why they would care whether I use it a lot or not? Here's the answer. I covered this in episode 1690, by the way, so if you have not listened to that episode, I suggest after you listen to this one, go listen to that one. Is that social media apps like Instagram or TikTok or Twitter or YouTube or Facebook, all of them, they make the majority of their money by charging advertisers money to run ads. So I run ads on social media. And big companies like NBC and Nike and Amazon, they run ads on social media. Social media apps make the majority of their money from paying advertisers. Now, what does that have to do with getting you scrolling? Because the more time you spend on the app, the more time they can charge advertisers for the right to show their ads to people like you and me. The more time you give to the app, the more Facebook can go to Amazon and say, hey, Amazon, look how much time we have Mike and Lisa and Jason and Terry spending on our app. Because they're spending this much time, here's how much you got to pay to run your ads so that they can see them. Because clearly you see how much time they're using on the app, you know they're going to see them. So now you got to pay us this much. Oh, we got them to use more time, so now the price went up. They're using less time, so the price went down. We got them to use double the time, so the price doubled. They make their money by monetizing your time and selling it to advertisers. That's how the social media apps make their money. Now, a lot of people don't know that, but all of you should understand that. You should have a deep understanding of it because you are on social media all day, every day. You should know where your time is going and how it is making them money. And notice, you don't get to participate in any of that exchange. All right, it's your time, the most valuable resource you have that's being monetized, yet you don't get to collect any of the money. That's how that's the scientists, the engineers who work at these apps and these companies. Their job is to engineer the apps such that this process continues forever. It continues perpetually. That is their entire job. That's what they get paid on. They get paid on how much time can you keep people like you and me using these apps and scrolling through the feeds, because that's how they make their money, that's how they charge, and that's how they monetize. So anytime you do spend consuming on a social media app, that should be time that is specifically designated for consumption, because I'm not telling you not to consume at all. You probably couldn't, even if you wanted to, not consume. But anytime you do spend consuming, make sure you're using that time that is specifically designated for consumption, and there needs to be a limit. There needs to be a starting time, there needs to be an ending time when you are consuming on social media. You should not just be aimlessly consuming with no end time. And if you are consuming also, you should be consuming strategically. Consume in such a way that you're looking around at maybe your competitors or your colleagues or someone who knows something that you don't know, where you can maybe steal some ideas from them or borrow some techniques from them or some strategies from them. But you shouldn't just be aimlessly scrolling, because again, the app is designed to keep you scrolling and they're just sucking your time away from you, and your time is your most valuable resource. We talked about this in episode 609. Time, money, attention, energy, and focus, your 5 forms of investment. Make sure you're not letting this be sucked away from you and not getting anything back in exchange. That's a very, very bad deal. Moving on to point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is how to take your life back from social media. Point number 2, stop exploring and scrolling. I just kind of talked about this in point number 1. The Explorer tab and the scrolling, the endless scrolling that you do. Now, not all apps have an Explorer tab, but many of them do. The Explorer tab and the scrolling, stop doing it. Don't do it anymore. Those parts of the app are the money makers for social media companies. Those are their money makers. The biggest money maker on Instagram is the Explorer tab, because on the Explorer tab, what Instagram does is they show you stuff that, based on your past activity, they think you are most likely to engage with, and they just show you more and more and more of it, whatever they think you'd be interested in paying attention to. And the thing is, it's based on your activity, so they know what things to show you. So the thing is, you should just stay away from that tab, period. You should just try not to tap on it at all. Now, I sometimes tap on it and look at it, I'll be honest, but at the same time, there are times where I say, you know what, I'm not going to look at the Explore tab at all. I will use Instagram, but I'm not going to touch the Explore tab, because I know they're going to show me stuff that it's probably going to suck me in and get me looking at it more often. So I don't try to fight it. I don't try to be more disciplined and fight against it. My own human nature, what I do is just stay away from it so that my human nature doesn't work against me. So this is the structural thing. So when I told you a few episodes back that all your discipline challenges are structural challenges, like I told you in episode 2366, this is what I mean. Don't try to fight the structural challenge of discipline. What you need to do is just go around it, and don't try to be more disciplined than your own nature. That doesn't make any sense. Well, it does. Actually, it does make sense, but the thing is, that's the hardest way to do it. That's the better way of saying it. So don't get on social media if you have nothing else to do and you are aimlessly looking to fill time. You shouldn't be doing that anyway. But if you are aimlessly looking to fill time, don't get on social media, because what's going to happen is not only will you fill the time, you will go over the time. That's what happens when you aimlessly get on social media. Because again, it's designed to make you spend more time than you expected. Social media will not only fill the time, again, it will take more of it from you that's not even available. The reason why it's important to do this is because social media's business model is, again, based on taking time from you, and then they go sell it. The more your time they get, the more money they make. So when they fail to take your time away, they fail to make money. So they are incentivized to beat you at this game. The engineers at social media companies are incentivized to figure out how to get you to give them more time. And when they are failing at that, they're failing at their jobs. And people get fired when they don't do their jobs well enough at these companies. Their job being suck as much time from you and me as possible. So the best way is to not get in a game that is set up for you to lose. Okay, so don't get in a game where an engineer where you're going up against an engineer and their setup. You're playing a game on their field. All right, don't get in that game, because they're just better at it than you. So don't get in the game at all so you can't lose. So stop looking at the Explore tabs. Stop randomly scrolling, hoping to find something that grabs your attention. This is a battle that you will not win. The game is rigged. So if the goal is making the most of your time, you absolutely should not be playing around on social media, all right, because social media will take most of your time. You think you're going to beat them? No, they're going to beat you. Moving on to point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is how to take your life back from social media. Number 3, start treating social media the same way you treat the news, like I told you back in episode 1474. You know, the news like that comes on TV, like CNN, and NBC, and CBS. The way you treat the news these days, that's the same way you should treat social media, at least when you're using it as a consumer. When there is real news, here's how you treat the news, by the way, in case any of you didn't know. And listen to episode 1474 for more context. When there's real news taking place in life, something that you really need to know about, you don't need to go looking for it. You won't need to go look and see, hey, is there any news that I need to know about? You won't need to. News will find you. All right, everybody hear me? When there's actual news taking place, it will find you. You won't need to go looking for it. So you don't need to browse through social media thinking that there's something that you need to see that you otherwise didn't know about. All right, you don't need to see it. You might want to see it. That's the difference. But you don't need to see it. And here's the thing. If you wouldn't otherwise know about it in the first place, you never needed to know about it in the first place. You don't need to know who one of your friends just got off the plane in Los Angeles. You don't need to know what your cousin's having for lunch. You don't need to know that one of your friends from college just bought a new pair of sneakers. You don't need to know these things. I told you about this when I talked about the discipline challenges and the tactical challenges of getting your concentration right. What episode was that? It was episode number 2360 and 2361. How to concentrate, the strategy and the tactics. This is episode 2361. I told you, turn off all your notifications. Why? Because you don't need to know that something just happened on the social media app. You're going to look at it anyway. No need for you to go look at it. And you don't need to scroll through the feed, because if there's any real news taking place in life, guess what? You won't need to get on social media to find out about it. If it's real news, you'll find out about it in real life. All right, so all of these things that the people who you follow are posting and you have been conditioned to think that you need to know about it when it happens, these are the social media versions of fake news. This is a social media version of fake news. It's not fake news in that it didn't actually happen. It's fake news in that it's not actually news. You get what I'm saying? See, it's not news if it's not something that you need to know. News is things that you need to know. So the fake news industry is not necessarily saying that what somebody said didn't happen. It's just that it's not as important as people try to make it seem. The biggest challenge in the internet these days is that everyone's trying to make it seem like whatever they're announcing is the most important thing in the world. So they're all sensationalizing whatever they say to try to draw your attention. The thing is, attention is one of your 5 forms of investment. You must protect your attention and not just give it away to anyone for cheap. Again, social media fake news. So any update sent to you under the guise of you needing to know about it, when all they're really doing is interrupting you from your more important work. All right, you have to be disciplined against this. And the way you get disciplined against this is not by trying to be more mentally tough or try to be more disciplined. What you do is structure your life in such a way that you don't have to call on your discipline. Because again, apps are pulling you away from your important work, sucking time away from you that the social media apps will then monetize and then not share any of the money with you from it. This is the game that they're playing. Now the question is, what game are you playing? You don't know what game you're playing their game. So with all that said, recapping today's class, which is how to take your life back from social media. I talked about this in many episodes of the show. Listen to episode 1690, also episode 1114. And today we're talking about how to get your life and time back from social media so you are using it instead of it using you. Number one, be a producer over a consumer. This is especially true for those of you who utilize social media for business. That's a popular and common thing to do. Nothing wrong with doing that. But keep in mind that the feed is scientifically engineered to consume your time. So when you get done producing, get off of the app. Because if you try to fight against what the engineers have put together, in the long run, the engineers will win. You might win a couple battles, but they'll win the war. Number two, stop exploring and scrolling. Don't get on social media if you don't have anything else to do, because you'll fill the little bit of time that you had available, then you'll fill a little bit more of that time that was not available. Because again, the engineers have designed it to beat you at this game. So don't try to play a game that is set up for you to lose. So stop looking at the Explorer tabs and stop randomly scrolling through and hoping to find something that grabs your attention. If something you really need to know, you'll know about it. Moving on to point number three, treat social media the same way you treat the news. Like I talked about in episode 1474, if something is real news, you won't have to go look for it. You won't have to turn on the TV and hope to find out about it. If it's real news, it will come and find you. There's not too many things that are real news. That's why most of the stuff that gets posted, you don't need to know about, but you have been conditioned to believe that you need to know about it with these things like notifications. All of these are time sucks. That the highest level producing people, the top producers, the most efficient people out there, they don't fall victim to this stuff. So if you're falling victim to this stuff, you are not being a high level individual in that moment. You need to make some changes to your process. Again, if it's something that you wouldn't otherwise know about, you never needed to know about it in the first place. You don't need to know that one of your friends has bought a new pair of sneakers. It doesn't really matter, does it? Any update sent to you under the guise of you needing to know about it, all they're really doing is interrupting you from your most important work, sucking time away from you that social media apps monetize. And again, they're not sharing any of the money with you. So do not become a victim, because you've been warned. So with all that said, text me to get my daily motivation for free, straight to your phone every day. My number is 305-384-6894. Number two, go to workonyourgame.net. You want to work with me directly. It's the only way to get into my university is to watch the training at workonyourgame.net. Click the button that comes up at the end of the training. Schedule a call with me, completely obligation free. We can see where you're at, where you want to go, how I can possibly help. If I can help you, I'll tell you. If I can't help you, I'll tell you that as well. Again, that's at workonyourgame.net. And my next live event, Work On Your Game Live, is happening February 3rd and 4th, 2023 in Miami. Get your ticket by going to workonyourgame.live. Again, workonyourgame.live. Work on your game. Dre all day.